I'm talking with Lucy Cryan. She is the Business of the Year by the National Association of Professional Pet Sitters. Let's just stick to NAPS. It's easier to say. And what I like about it is they selected you. You don't have this gigantic company, and you don't just help dogs and cats. Your company, Cryan Enterprises in Ohio, is also helping people who have horses, maybe, and farm animals. Is that correct?
That is correct. I have a lot of horse experience, and I have had sheep, and I worked with 4-H clubs.
Nice.
So we worked with a lot of different animals, including poultry, chickens and so on. So between myself and the two gals, my independent contractors, we have a lot of experience with a lot of different animals. So yeah, it's a little different.
So caring for different animals, there's some people that are in the city that want to have chickens. Is there a chicken tip you can give? Because you are a top professional pet sitter. What's something you could tell people who want to have chickens? Yeah, give me a chicken care tip.
Oh my gosh, I don't know that I have a chicken care tip. I mean, just make sure you know what you're getting into, right?
Yeah, make sure that cage is secure, right?
They take a lot of attention, and other animals like to get in and get your chickens, which unfortunately happens even in the city. I mean, make sure that your coop and everything is well secured, and it's impossible to not even do chickens to not get attached, but
they have personalities.
They really do. And they're kind of delicate sometimes. And there's a lot of predators. So chickens are a tough one. But
what about horses? Because tell us where you live in Ohio. What kind of, is it rural, suburban? What is it? And what would be a couple of tips, or what do you do for horses as a pet sitter?
Well, I'm in a suburb of Columbus. So, there are horses, and actually Otterbein has the whole farm in actual Westerville, but we're close. We have rural area all around us. And, basically not just me and my contractors, we do whatever is necessary when people are out of town. And basically it's cleaning stalls, feeding horses, medicating if necessary, whatever they need done. I'll even do appointments where I'll go and meet the farrier if the owner is not available, because the farrier needs somebody to hold the horse, or as a vet needs somebody to be there to handle the animal while they're working. So we'll do that. Pretty much anything you need. And of course, with my experience as a former trainer, I can even exercise necessary. So that's a little above and beyond of what we typically do.
If I'm a horse and I see Lucy Cryan coming up to me, I think I'm in good hoofs, aren't I?
I hope so.
I know, but I mean, do you think there is such a thing as horse sense? I mean, you kind of can.
Oh, for sure. So primarily it's confidence. If a handler is not confident when they approach them, then they're nervous because they think they're flight animals by nature. So if they feel that you're nervous, then their instinct tells them to flee. So, as long as you're confident and walk up to them, I don't mean aggressive in any sense, but you are confident and happy and comfortable, then they're happy and comfortable and confident as well. So that's the biggest thing.
And you also do a lot of cats and dogs, right?
Oh yeah. That's mostly what we have is cats and dogs.
So you're walking into somebody's house. You've already done the meet and greet. They met and the pet was on their best behavior. Now mom or dad is gone. And Lucy Cryan walks in the door. What do you do for these dogs or cats if they try to be a little uppity? How do you restore? How do you say, "Hey, it's me, Lucy"? Because I think that's a challenge.
It is a challenge, but honestly, I have great pets I work with, and I haven't really had that problem. But I always have treats in my pocket.
That's good.
Yeah, I mean, most pets, well, dogs in particular, a treat will usually get them over the hump. I mean, I have had some cats that were a little testy, that hide. They're afraid because they've only met me once. I had one cat that climbed up into the springs of the couch Took me
Oh.
45 minutes to find her. Yeah. And she needed medication because she has seizures. So it wasn't just,
Yeah.
okay, I'll put out your food and I can come back and find you later. I had to find her. And of course, the owner was on a plane, so I couldn't even contact the owner. It was just, one of
Perfect
those
storm.
things.
Perfect storm.
Perfect storm. And she's a Persian, and Persians can be a little persnickety about who they like and who they don't like. So that was probably the most challenging first visit I've had. Luckily, thank goodness, my dogs have all been great. But I think I have one dog that's a little shy, but if you just sit still, just take your time, they get over it. And in fact, right now I have a cat that the owner knew to me, and the owner said, well, I'll probably hide. No, he met me at the door. He was lonely enough probably because his person was gone. But yeah, I mean, you just, again, even the same as horses, if you have confidence and you're not afraid and you have treats and you speak nicely to them,
That's good. Have you ever had any strange request from a pet parent on how to care or how to feed a dog or a cat? Sometimes when I talk to pet sitters, there's been some wacky requests. What, can you name one?
Nothing too wacky, but some really routine oriented dogs. Like, there's two dogs and this one has to go in this crate, but you have to make sure that you feed him first. But this one can go out without a harness or a leash, but the other one has to be on
Yes.
And you have to do the timing just like this. There's some that are so routine and they have quirks like, if even in the fenced in yard, if he's not on a leash, he'll get away from you and you'll never be able to catch him, and things like that. So yeah, some of them seem a little weird. Like maybe if you worked with them, maybe you could get beyond it, but it's okay. Like I'm happy to, if the dog is doing their normal routine, dogs, multiple cats, whatever, their normal routine, then it seems to work out pretty well. I mean, I have some that leave me all sorts of fancy treats, like they'll have in the fridge, they'll have special things ready and for me to give the pets. But again, it's okay. Like I haven't done anything to be too unreasonable.
Well, it sounds like it sounds like it's demonstrating that people love their pets, and especially as we got through COVID, they really kept us sane. People are getting back to traveling. There's some of them going back to their offices. You're a professional pet sitter. So what would be a few tips you could share with people on how to really pick a quality person to come in and care for their pets and, and do other things at the house while they're away? Because that's really paramount.
Well, that's where Naps comes in. I mean, I tell people all the time, if I have calls, people outside my area, or I can't take them because I'm booked or whatever, I always tell them to look at Naps first, see if they can find somebody who is certified, who is taking classes, who's insured is key. They have to have insurance, bonded if they're not the ones personally coming, if their staff is coming for them. So, and if they can't find anybody in the area on Naps, there are other associations that have the same type of thing, which is fine. And then get references and talk to the references. Don't just get a list, but actually make a phone call just to make sure, because that's really important. I mean, if you're having somebody in your home, it's really important. So that's really the biggest thing is and do the meet and greet. Make sure that your pet gets along. And if it's not a good match, don't feel bad. If it's not a good match, find somebody else. Because sometimes that happens. There are dogs or cats or horses that sometimes don't click with a certain personality or have a fear of XYZ. I don't know, men sometimes.
Hats.
Yeah, hats. Yeah. So, sometimes the match isn't going to be good. Or you bring them in your house for meet and greet and there's something that doesn't feel right to you as the owner. Don't feel bad. Just say, thanks. It was great meeting you, and find somebody that you feel comfortable with. So,
we would go. Yeah. So, couple of sites I want you to name. Tell everybody your website if they're in the Ohio area where you are, and how they can get hold of the Naps, people at Naps.
So Cryan Enterprises is mine. Super easy. CryanEnterprises.com. It can't get any easier than that. And then Naps, I can't remember what
Petsitters.org.
the website. Yeah, I was going to say you can type in Naps on your Google search and it'll come right up. It's the first or second thing that you see. So you can get in there, and then there's I don't know what the heading is, but there's a way to look for pet care providers in your area.
Yes.
So that's really helpful. And I've gotten a couple of really good clients from that site, ones that were going the extra mile to find the right person to do what they needed to do. And that's where I got my first client whose mother lives in assisted living. So that was a really good start working with people in assisted living and their animals.
That's a good point. Yeah. I like that.
And I found my very first one through Naps. I mean, she found me through Naps because it was so important to her to have the right person with her 90-year-old mom who was in congestive heart failure, but loved her cat more than anything in the world. So she wanted to make sure she got somebody who was very reputable and so Naps has really helped me out with getting started in that little weird niche of business.
Well, you've come a long way from being a little girl with a pony named Tom Collins, right?
Right.
To champion horses named Sky and Poet. What you work a lot, but I've always been curious as pet sitters, when you get some downtime, when you get to take a break, what do you like to do, or where would you like to visit? What's something that really, that's my getaway. What is your getaway as a professional pet sitter?
Well, I'd love to travel, but I of course have pets, so we have to make arrangements if we're going to travel without them. But we do take them a lot. We'll go to places that have great hiking. We've been to North Carolina, South Carolina, Kentucky has some great hiking. New York. Northern New York has a lot of great places to go hiking. So we do that to get away because my husband and I are outdoorsy and we like to do those things. And then occasionally we'll take off without the pets. And I like to go to the national parks. Most of them don't allow dogs on the trail, so they have to stay at home, which is unfortunate, but I understand it's wildlife doesn't do well with dogs here and there. So we go to a lot of the national parks, and I hope to hit as many as possible over the next 10 years of my retirement.
I like that. What's one final message you want to give people out there that have their pets? We love them. They're our most priceless asset as far as really investing in a professional pet sitter. I
mean, it's just for peace of mind, right?
Yes.
Your animals are like your children. So you want to get the best possible care you can. The kid down the street might be fine, but I wouldn't do it, which is one of the reasons I decided to start doing this, because I had a hard time finding somebody that I trusted and I felt was reliable. So, I think going the extra mile for your family, your furry family members or scaly family members or whatever it is.
Or hoofed ones, yeah.
Or hoofed or feathered or whatever they are. I think it's definitely worth it. And, unfortunately, you hear the sad stories of the neighbor kid that accidentally let the dog out and he got into the road, or they forgot to show up and let the dog out. I mean, you do hear those things. I guess that can happen with a professional as well, but a lot less likely.
Well, that's good. Hey, we're speaking with Lucy Cryan. She runs Cryan Enterprises in Westerville, Ohio, and she was named Business of the Year by the National Association of Professional Pet Sitters. That's a top dog award. She's come through a lot in life. She was in academia, and I just love how you keep reinventing yourself, Lucy. And I want to congratulate you on this award and thank you for being so compassionate to all kinds of animals.
Oh, well, thank you for having me. It was really fun.